Hey, welcome back. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to make these absolutely amazing eclairs. I picked this up in a French bakery up in Colorado, Breckenridge, and about 8-10 years ago, I learned how to make these, and ever since then, I never looked back. Make them the same way all the time, and today I'm going to show you how to do it. A couple quick tips. You want a French piping tip between the sizes of 8, 9, and 10. A round piping tip will work, but they will flatten out a little bit more. We'll get to that a little bit later. As always, the recipe will be below. You can get a PDF version of it on Etsy for $1, download it. Otherwise, just copy and paste it in the description below. Two more things you'll need is piping bags and a heavy-duty whisk. Other than that, you should have everything in your kitchen to do this. So without further ado, let's just jump right in it. Okay, the first thing we want to do before we start weighing out all of our ingredients is go ahead and pop our oven on so that way it comes up to temp. After we turn our oven on, let's go ahead and put our butter in our pot and get our butter melted. Okay, as our butter's melting over here, we're going to go ahead and weigh out our water, milk, sugar, and salt. More times than not, you'll find in a lot of my videos, I'll say if you're a gram or two or a couple grams off, it's fine. With our liquid here, we want to be pretty spot on. Like right now, I am 1 gram off, and that is fine. But if I was like 3 to 5, like you need to fix that. I find this dough, this pot of choux is super temperamental, and the more you're off, the more it's going to throw it off. So. Literally, I'm at 524 grams and I need 525. I'm not going to fight for 1 gram here, but yeah. Perfect, I got 526 in my water, so that 1 gram actually worked out. Okay, now that our butter's melted all the way, we're going to add our water, our milk, our salt, and our sugar, and bring that up to a rolling boil. No joke. If it's just starting to simmer, we still want to let it go a little bit. We really want this at a full rolling boil. Okay, as we're waiting for our butter, water, sugar, milk, salt to come up to a boil, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my flour and my eggs. Again, we want to be pretty spot on with our measurements here, especially the eggs being liquid. So I'm a couple grams over, so I'm just going to take a shell and take some of the egg white out. Okay, as we're still waiting for our mixture to come to a full rolling boil, I'm kind of getting everything together. I want to show you 2 different ways to pipe them. So I got 2 different tips here. Grab your sheet trays and parchments. I got some egg wash and a fork, which you're going to need a fork depending on which kind of tip you use. My spatula to scoop it into my bag. And of course our oven needs to be all the way up to temp. Okay, for a piping tip, I want you to use a number 9 or 10 circle tip. This is not a star tip. I always forget the name of this. Star tip's gonna come in, like a little flower, right? Come in. So what you could do is if you make a lot of eclairs, you could take a star tip and use a knife and straighten out these tips if you really wanted to, right? See, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not gonna destroy, I'll do it for 1 more and then I'm gonna bend it back, right? And that would get you the lines on the eclairs we're looking for. I'm gonna just put that back. Otherwise, I should know the name of this. It's like a round tip. These don't come in, they're straight, and this will help keep the lines on it. Otherwise, and you'll see, as we pipe them with our circle tip, we can come back through with a fork and make lines on them, kind of put that indentation and texture on there that people look for. And yeah, you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Okay, I fully admit this isn't going to be the best camera angle, but this is all I got. So as you can see, I'm in a full rolling boil now, and this is good. So I'm going to go ahead with the heat still on low. Now I'm going to turn my heat down all the way down to low. While it's still on a boil, we're going to go ahead and add our flour in. And with a heavy duty whisk, we're going to go ahead and bring this together. Now before I add the eggs, I want to show you what I like to do here as we're going ahead and mixing this. You can take it completely off the flame, right? So if you feel like it's starting to burn or starting to get too hot, we can just move it off the flame, move it back on as needed. So again, I have my flame down as low as I can get it. And from here, right, this has all come together. This looks good. We're gonna go ahead and add our eggs. You definitely don't want your eggs to break here or curdle. If they curdle, this whole entire pot of choux is trash. We gotta kick it. So my best advice is to pull it off the flame and then add your eggs in like so. And then you gotta be quick with this. So we gotta get in here with our heavy duty whisk, right? And we're gonna cook these eggs down into this mixture until it's nice and silky smooth. At this point, we cannot leave this spot, and you cannot stop mixing because otherwise your eggs will curdle and you will have to throw this away. So like I said, if you feel like it's getting hot, I just move it off the flame here. Move it back on because we are trying to cook these eggs into this dough. All right, and put this just for a few more seconds here. I know this probably isn't the best camera angle, but you can't really stop at this point. All right, I like that. So I'm gonna kill my flame. And so that's what we're looking for. This is nice and silky and smooth now. So the pot is still hot, right? So we can still curdle our eggs here. So I'm gonna pull this off the flame and get this into a piping bag. And as it's sitting, like every once in a while, just take a spatula and just take it off the bottom so that way your eggs don't break here. But see this? See how it all came together, right? Okay, like I said, I'm gonna pipe this out 2 different ways so you can see what I meant by the piping tip. The mixture is still going to be very hot to your hand even as we pipe this. Do not let this get cold. You need to pipe this hot. This needs to be a quick-ish process to get this into the oven. If this dough gets cold and sits out for too long, it's going to create a little shell on top, and they're not going to pop up and be all nice and fluffy like an éclair, like what you're looking for. Okay, a couple tips with the piping bag, right? So we want to go ahead and not overload the bag. Only load it with as much as you feel comfortable to pipe. Second, we're always, the force to push this out always needs to come from the back. It's not like a pencil where we squeeze up here, we squeeze from the back. So I twist the back, right? And see, we're already brown gophering out here. And then so when we pipe these, we don't want them to be skinny and long. We want them to be a little bit fatter, so you're gonna put a little bit more pressure as we pipe to thicken them out as we pipe them. So like so, right? So I'm gonna start here, and I am kind of making it fatter as I go along, right? Again, so right, so I start at one spot, I squeeze a little bit extra to kind of make that how fat I want it, and then I follow it along, only moving down when I get it as thick as I'd like it. So like up here, that's a little skinny, but it'll be all right. Okay, like I said, we gotta be quick with this. After we pipe them, we want to egg wash them and get them in. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other piping tip here and what I meant. I kind of overloaded this bag a little bit, which is why that first one's a little funny. But see, you're not going to have to come back through and do all these lines. Which is why I always keep one of these piping tips around, specifically for éclairs. Sweet, they're still hot. We definitely are fighting time here because we want these to go in warm and not create a shell. So we're gonna go ahead and egg wash these guys. All right. Now here's what I meant with the circle tips. So I'm gonna come through and egg wash these guys real quick. Right, and then we're gonna take a fork. You wanna put this fork in egg wash so that way it doesn't catch it, right? And then we're just gonna come down the line, make these lines here. Now you can see what I mean, it saves you time. And you don't have to fight the clock with if you have the right piping tip. But this totally works fine. This is how I used to do it for years. Cool. So now these are done. I'm gonna pop these in the oven at 425. Okay, 425. I'm gonna start with 15 minutes because I made them pretty big. Don't open it to check it, especially until we're closer to the end. Because if you pop it open, the oven's gonna get shocked and all your pot of choux, your eclairs are just gonna flatten out. And then there goes all that time. So don't fuck with it, don't open the oven, just let it do its thing. And then towards the end, when you can always add time, you can't take time away, we can check on them, see how they are, and then we can add them more time. So I'm gonna let it go for 15, and then we'll see from there. Okay, these are looking great. My timer just went off. It's been about 16, 17 minutes. They still need some time, but now they've popped, have a shell on them, so I'm not as worried about opening the oven now. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin them, and then add another 4 or 5 minutes. All right, these look great. Okay, these took about 23-ish minutes in my oven. Every oven's different, depending on if you're making like cream puffs or like minis or anything or whatnot, is going to vary. And now you can see what I meant by like putting a fork for texture in it versus not. I would recommend going out and buying some large piping tips, because as you dock it with a fork, you're putting pressure and you're pushing it down. Like as you can see, these are a little bit flatter than these guys. These are nice and rounded, what we're looking for to fill them, versus these guys are a little bit sadder and a little bit heavier. They still are, ow, that's hot. They're still gonna taste really good. They're still gonna have the snap and everything. 95% of people won't notice, but I will. So that's why I always carry one of those piping tips for eclairs. So now while these are cooling down, they're gonna still continue to cook for a few minutes for carryover heat. But as these are cooling down, I am going to load a piping bag with pastry cream. I'm gonna make my ganache, and then we're gonna fill them and finish these out for the order today. So we're gonna let these cool down. Okay, wow, these came out looking great. So a couple tips to fill these. And I'll make another video for pastry cream. I just don't want this video to be 20+ minutes. If you have a sharp piping tip to break through, that'll work, right? So we can just push right in here and fill it up on each side, so that way it's through the whole entire eclair. If you don't, and that's fine, we can take a thermometer, like in a kitchen thermometer, right? We just poke a hole on each side, kind of open it up. I like to do the middle, just in case we don't get to the middle. And don't drop it in your ganache. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, you can use a thermometer, and you can open up each side here, right? So that way, if your piping tip can't get into this eclair, then you can just fill it up with each hole, right? So I go center, and then end, and end. There we go. And then we can go ahead and, my next tip would be for your ganache, make sure it's not like piping hot, because that way it's gonna fall off and run off on the sides of our eclair. And of course that's not what we want. So I like to just dip it just just barely, right? And then using 2 fingers, just go ahead and bring it down the line. Like so. Yeah, this ganache is still just a little bit warm, so it's not as thick as I'd like. So actually I'm gonna let this sit for another minute or 2 before I do them all. But that's it. This eclair looks amazing. I'm gonna tear into this one right now. Look at this. I'd be happy if I got that. And I'm my biggest critic, so normally, if it's bad, I'd say it's bad, so. That's pretty damn good. Wow. I'm happy with that. Okay, my ganache has cooled down a little bit more, so that way it's not gonna run off. So, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and fill all these and then top them. I think I'll just do one complete right here so you can see it again. So I already went through with the thermometer and cleared it all out. So I got my center, and then I got my end here, and we can always just clean up the side, the stuff that comes out, and I got my other end here. There we go. So I'm gonna fill them all through first, and then I'll go through and top them with chocolate. And then, like I said, I like to dunk the flat side, right? And then just use a finger and just run along it. And there we go. There's our eclair. Yeah, if you ended up liking this video or making these, drop a comment below. Let me know how they came out. Any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them below. Let me find, I'll answer them for you, and I'll help out the best I can. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to see something specific, let me know, and we can make that happen. Until next time, thanks for checking in.